Favour FM 96.3.
Good evening. Welcome to Favour English News with me, Andama Godfrey. First day headline. Government pulls troops from Juba River checkpoint after unrest. AFDB announces funding to import electricity from Uganda to South Sudan. And Brazil prosecutor charges ex-President Bolsonaro over alleged coup plot. And now the news in details. Government pulls troops from Juba River checkpoint after unrest. Government security forces deployed at the Kubiri Ngab checkpoint in Juba River County, Western Bargazal State, have withdrawn from the area, officials confirmed on Tuesday. The forces comprising national security personnel and elements of the South Sudan People's Defense Forces were deployed earlier this month following clashes between government troops and opposition SPLM-IO forces. The violence erupted over a dispute involving an SPLM-IO soldier wearing national security uniforms, resulting in casualties and injuries. During their deployment, the government forces were accused of serious human rights violations, including torture, arbitrary unrest, and sexual violence against civilians. They were also alleged to have burned down a local market and looted civilian property. Western Bargazal State Police Commissioner Major General Abdenigo Akol Anyong confirmed the withdrawal. He stated that the decision was made by the State Security Committee led by the governor in response to the atrocities committed by the deployed forces. However, local residents say that the area had been severely damaged, with homes destroyed and the community facing significant challenges in rebuilding their lives. Stephen Robo Musa, the state coordinator for the Community Empowerment for Progress organization, welcomed the military pullout as a positive step toward restoring peace and stability in Juba River County. Musa also called for accountability, urging the government to investigate and prosecute soldiers involved in the alleged atrocities. Local company and Swiss firm donate food and medicine to Juba orphanage. South Sudan allied consultants in partnership with a Swiss firm, Pharma-Lease Laboratories, on Tuesday delivered aid to Juba orphanage home, which currently hosts 85 orphans. The aid package included powdered milk, first aid drugs, medicines, food items, exercise books, pens, and pencils. Speaking during the handover ceremony, Akwe Benjamin Bach, the Pharma-Lease Laboratories country manager, said the donation is part of the company's corporate social responsibility. Akwe said the supplies will improve the lives of the children and that they often respond positively when people knock on their door. He revealed that they carried out a similar activity last year with Citizen Call, an emergency response and rehabilitation initiative. For his part, Angelo Kenyi Samuel, the director of Juba Orphanage Home, expressed deep gratitude for the timely assistance amid ongoing challenges. AFDB announces funding to import electricity from Uganda to South Sudan. The African Development Bank on Monday announced that it will unveil funds to finance the importation of electricity from neighboring Uganda to South Sudan. Temba Bebe, the AFDB South Sudan country manager, told reporters in Juba that the project will be jointly funded by the Continual Bank and the European Union. He revealed that the project is already in advanced stages and could roll out in the second quarter of this year. He said the project is going to be implemented directly through the electricity utility company and subcontracting of international companies that will implement the project. According to Pepe, Once the project is fully implemented, the cost of electricity in South Sudan will significantly reduce from the current 42 cents of a US dollar per kilowatt hour to 12 cents per kilowatt. You are listening to Favour News. A fragile calm has returned to the town of Nasir in Upper Nile State after clashes last week between the South Sudan People's Defense Forces and armed civilians. However, local authorities warn that the humanitarian situation remains critical, with thousands displaced and in urgent need of food, water, and medical supplies. The violence erupted last Friday and continued into Saturday, leaving at least 5 people dead and several others injured. The fighting forced much of the local population to flee, leaving the town largely deserted. Speaking on Wednesday, Gatluak Leo Thiab, the Nasir County Commissioner, said residents are slowly returning home but face a worsening humanitarian crisis. David Panom, the acting coordinator for the Relief and Rehabilitation Commissions, echoed these concerns, appealing for urgent food aid. In regional news, UN Security Council renews Sudan sanctions panel for 1 year. The UN Security Council on Monday extended until 12 March 2026 the mandate of the panel of experts tasked with assisting its sanctions committee concerning Sudan, requesting a final report on the panel's findings and recommendations by 13th January 2026. Several members also called for the panel's term to meet sanctions timeline, adopting Resolution 2772 in the bracket 2025 to be issued as document S/RES/2772 in the bracket 2025 close bracket by a vote of 13 in favor to none against, with 2 abstentions in the bracket China, Russia, Federation. The Council, acting under Chapter 5 of the Charter of the United Nations, also requested the panel to provide the Security Council Committee established pursuant to Resolution 1591 in the bracket 2005 concerning Sudan with an interim report on its activities no later than 12 August. Further, the Council requested the panel to provide updates regarding its activities to that committee every 3 months, also expressing its intention to review the panel's mandate and take appropriate action regarding its further extension not later than 12 February 2026. It also encouraged all parties, member states and international, regional and sub-regional organizations to ensure continued cooperation with the panel and the safety of its members. Speaking after the vote, the representative of the United States, the text's main author, emphasized that the panel's independent reporting will facilitate both member states supporting for Sudan and efforts to reach a lasting resolution to a conflict that has caused the world's largest humanitarian crisis. In world news, Brazil prosecutor charges ex-President Bolsonaro over alleged coup plot. Former Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro has been charged by the country's chief prosecutor with attempting a coup after he was defeated in the 2022 presidential election. The 69-year-old was handed 5 charges over the alleged bid to prevent his successor, President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, from taking office after a bitter election race. The charges include allegations that he planned to poison Lula and sought dead Supreme Court Justice Alexandre de Moraes. Bolsonaro denies wrongdoing and says he is the victim of political persecution. The prosecutor's advice will now be considered by the Supreme Court. If accepted, Bolsonaro and 33 others will be formally charged and will have to face trial. The former president was banned from running for office for 8 years after being accused of undermining Brazilian democracy by falsely claiming that electronic ballots used in the October 2022 poll were vulnerable to hacking and fraud. The bitterly fought election was won by an extremely narrow margin by President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, known more commonly as Lula. Bolsonaro never publicly acknowledged his defeat and left Brazil for the US 2 days before Lula was sworn in as president. On 8th January 2023, his supporters stormed government buildings in the capital Brasilia. Parts of the buildings were ransacked and police arrested 1,500 of the rioters. 3 months ago, the federal police released a report accusing Bolsonaro of playing a lead role in planning and organizing an attempted coup, including by proposing the idea to key figures in the military to stop Lula taking power. The document charging Bolsonaro says the responsibility for acts that were harmful to democratic order lies with a criminal organization led by Bolsonaro himself. To end the news, the headlines once again. Government pulls troops from Juba River checkpoint after unrest. AFDB announces funding to import electricity from Uganda to South Sudan. And Brazil prosecutor charges ex-president Bolsonaro over alleged coup plan.
On 96.3 Favour.
And our verse of the day is Psalms 22 verse 19. But you, Lord, do not be far from me. You are my strength. Come quickly to help me. For more stories, visit our website favourfmjuba.org. Subscribe to our Facebook, join our Facebook group and also our YouTube. Stay tuned. The evening drive continues with Amos.